I think you truly burst onto the world stage 6 months later in March of 2019 when a far right Australian man killed 51 worshippers at that mosque in Christchurch,
Yes.
live streaming the attack
Yeah.
on Facebook. Tell me about the moment you heard this was happening and how you were able to summon the strength and the leadership that were so required at that moment.
Yeah, and I remember that day so well. And of course, when you're first presented with information, you get it in bits. And so I was on my way. I was in a van with a local mayor on my way to visit a school when my press secretary handed me the phone and just said, there's been a shooting. And over the course of quite a short period of time, I learned that a mosque was involved, and they weren't sure whether or not it was a series of attacks, how coordinated it was, but just that information gave a really early insight as to perhaps what this might be. And it wasn't too much later that we heard that he'd prepared a manifesto just full of hate, and he'd sent it to my office. Learning that he had deliberately targeted people during Friday prayers in order to maximise the number of casualties. But not only that, he'd done it because he had an intention to try and create a war. He wanted there to be retaliatory acts. That was part of his plan, and also part of his plan was to become infamous himself. And so New Zealanders just rejected that, and as much as people make comment on the role that I had to play as Prime Minister, in many ways I simply saw myself as leading out what was a very New Zealand response, which was a complete rejection of what he had tried to do. An entire nation who were gripped and united by grief, and a Muslim community who showed such enormous grace towards New Zealanders in that moment, opened mosques, opened their arms, allowed us to join with them in that period of grief. It will forever be one of the most deeply moving and sad experiences I've had in my life. But I feel so humbled to have been in that role during that period as well.